Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Tucker Whitman and I'm a junior marketing major here at UT. Today we're going to look at some of the highlights of our beautiful Riverside campus here in downtown Tampa. We'll start at Plan Hall. This historic building was opened in 1891 as the Tampa Bay Hotel and now serves as the main academic building here at UT, with 4 floors of classrooms as well as faculty and administrative offices. Next up, the Vaughn Center, the hub of campus life and activities. This multi-purpose building includes the campus bookstore, our primary cafeteria plus an additional food court, a theater, as well as offices and meeting rooms for student organizations. The Vaughn Center is also one of UT's residence halls, providing 5 floors of student rooms. Morsani Hall is another residence hall here at UT. In addition to housing approximately 450 students, this building offers another selection of eateries as well as a small grocery store. Now let's check out the Sykes College of Business. This academic building houses classrooms and faculty offices for UT's undergrad and graduate business students. This building also has a real-time stock trading room. Right next door is the Sykes Chapel for Faith and Values. This gorgeous interfaith chapel features a large main hall complete with a massive pipe organ, as well as meditation rooms and meeting rooms. Student health care is a major priority for us here at UT. The Dickey Health and Wellness Center is accessible to all students and provides high-quality services including basic medical care, counseling, and wellness programs. On the east side of campus, you'll find the McDonald-Kelsey Library. Here, students can learn from a large collection of books, periodicals, and digital databases. They can also take advantage of our numerous study rooms and computers. The Academic Success Center is another great resource for students. This is your one-stop shop for academic advising, coaching, and tutoring services. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just want to shoot some hoops, the athletic facilities here at UT are hard to beat. The Bob Martinez Athletic Center includes a large gymnasium, a weight room, and training facilities. In addition, the campus features an aquatic center open year-round, 6 tennis courts, baseball and softball fields, a 1,500-seat stadium, as well as a lacrosse field and intramural complex. Need a break from studying? Head to Falk Theater and catch a play. This 1,000-seat historic theater serves as a home for all major performances made by UT's Department of Speech,
There is something electrifying about a vibrant community of learning. Providing new knowledge, reimagining teaching and learning, designing and reinventing the spaces where we learn, live, and work, attracting and inspiring the best students and faculty, engaging locally and globally. These are essential to creating tomorrow for UT and our world. A campaign causes us to state what we stand for. It propels us to envision the future and work diligently in new and exciting ways. It inspires supporters to believe in the long-term value of campaign priorities. It impacts the world we inhabit today while we're creating tomorrow.
We are deeply grateful that so many of you stand with us. Together, we are developing UT as a model metropolitan community of learning.
We are pleased you enjoy the satisfaction of investing in the lives of students. Your heartfelt commitment makes for an electrifying connection among all of us.
Creating Tomorrow has been a campaign committed to advancing UT's mission and vision for the future. Our focus, the people, places, and purpose of the university, has transformed the UT educational experience and created a legacy of excellence.
We are where we are today, one of the most exciting times in UT history, because you accepted our challenge. You have helped us transform UT from a local treasure with potential to a prominent national figure on the educational scene.
On behalf of our campaign leadership team, We thank you for making so much possible. Because you care, because you believe, UT's future possibilities are unlimited.
At the heart of our university are its people, our students, faculty, and staff who come from around the world and from different backgrounds to share a singular experience. Our primary concern is making UT accessible to deserving students, and then ensuring their academic progress, personal development, and career readiness. Your support ensures that a UT education remains within reach to exceptional students from across a wide economic spectrum. Currently, 92% of UT's almost 9,000 students receive financial assistance. The Creating Tomorrow campaign is committed to increase student financial aid and academic program development. UT's strong experiential learning program is nationally recognized for the variety and number of experiences that shape our students' lives.
My UT scholarships are important because they allow me to focus on my studies and my future without the burden of financial struggles. I am currently a senior and have plans to attend law school next fall. This dream is possible because of the scholarships I've been awarded. Receiving financial aid has given me the time to compete on the cross-country team, become involved in student government, and to volunteer in the community. Each year, my scholarships have motivated me to achieve more academically. Thank you for believing in me.
Creating Tomorrow supports an innovative campus that reflects our defining value of educational excellence. We have always considered our campus setting as a resource. The construction of modern buildings and facilities during the campaign has transformed the UT landscape and enhanced the student experience. Projects supported by this campaign inspire a strong sense of community for everyone who lives, learns, and works at UT. It is the exceptional education which takes place beyond the impressive facades of our buildings that helps us attract and retain talented faculty and students. Students have access to the best faculty, facilities, tools, and resources to nurture their passions. Cutting-edge technology and equipment provide students with new ways of learning and engaging others. UT's excellent residential learning environment provides a variety of rich co-curricular learning experiences. Our emphasis is on developing the whole person.
We say we are changing lives to create tomorrow, and we mean it. Every day we stretch to do better, to do more, and to use UT's entrepreneurial spirit to accomplish the most we can. A UT education is an intense immersion experience. It creates a strong foundation for a productive life filled with opportunities and preparation for leadership and service. Skills and critical thinking abilities are honed through a challenging academic program and a rich set of co-curricular learning activities. International opportunities play a vital role in preparing UT students to compete in our increasingly global marketplace. The campaign utilizes unrestricted funds to enhance the whole university. These resources allow UT to adapt to changing circumstances and take advantage of emerging opportunities. By expanding programs that enrich the student experience, we strive to develop the whole person and prepare students for success after graduation.
We strive to maintain a remarkable level of support we see from alumni, parents, employees, and friends of the university. Thanks for your confidence in us. We will continue to be conscientious stewards of our resources. We recognize our responsibility to ensure that students leave their UT experience with knowledge and problem-solving abilities to develop a better world.
The Creating Tomorrow campaign has electrified a new sense of pride and enthusiasm about what is possible for UT when we all work together. Your passion and dedication are elevating this university ever higher. We are indeed fortunate to count you as our friends. Thank you for your support.
live at Namoli Family Stadium, day 2 of the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball. It's another beautiful day here at the University of Tampa campus, and we are ready for Game 1 of the second day and Game 3 overall in the women's winners bracket. After winning in Game 1 yesterday, the Tampa Spartans are the team that's designated as the visitors facing off against Valdosta State, who won in Game 2, who will be designated as the home team. Valdosta State wearing red and black, Tampa wearing white and black. I'm Taylor Storworthy alongside Bruce Wozniak, and once again, the great softball we're going to have over the next few days is continuing here and continuing now.
Yeah, we saw great softball yesterday, a pair of one-run games, and if we thought the stakes had gotten a little bit higher yesterday from the regular season, well, they got even higher today. And this is a time when you have to kind of go back to those days of playing softball as a kid and just having fun, because otherwise you get too caught up in the importance of the game, in not wanting to lose, and so you're gripping the bat a little bit too tight. We saw 5 errors yesterday committed by Rollins, and those are the kind of mistakes that kind of start to happen when you make more out of this than you need to. You just have to play fundamental softball, and like I said, go back to when you were a kid and just go out there and have fun.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we do sport because it's fun, because we enjoy doing it. All the competition and trophies, they're just little things that are on the side. In the circle, once again for Valdosta State, is Samantha Richards. And Richards went the distance in a shutout yesterday, but notably over 110 pitches. So a massive start from her. Have to wonder if fatigue will set in at any point in today's game.
I want to go back to what you just said, because you just made a great statement, about that sports is not everything and everything in life. And the fact of the matter is that you don't have to motivate your team to win. We know they want to win. That's why they're in the postseason, because they played so well in the regular season that, of course, everybody wants to win. So these teams are going to come out here and they're going to compete really hard, as we saw yesterday. And I think we're going to see a lot of entertaining softball. There's 3 games today, at least 1 tomorrow, maybe 2. And it sets up to be some couple of great days here at the Namoli Family Stadium.
Yep, and you had mentioned, of course, they don't need motivation. These 2 teams are really good. Tampa improved to 36-11. Valdosta State improved to 35-11. Both of these teams, one of the best in their region, best in their conferences. And it'll be a very entertaining game for sure. Fantone, who's leading off for the Spartans in a 2-2 count against Richards. Richards checks the wrist, checks the dugout, ready and fires from the circle. Fantone's going to get it to the outfield for the first base hit of the game for the Spartans. There was a really good attempt to defend there by Pennington, but just over her head, and it'll get a runner aboard to start the game.
That's a huge shot in the arm, obviously, for UT, because, there's a little bit of a feeling out process because these teams aren't familiar with each other, and so you also have to make sure that you're feeling out the other team, but that you're getting base hits and you're getting runners on base. All of a sudden, you could find yourself 4th inning, the game's half over, and you go, gosh, we haven't even gotten a run yet. So a good start there for UT for sure.
So Lily Keister squares up with a bunt, but the pitch is going to sail outside. Looks like ball 1. An interesting note, Tampa, usually with a runner on, likes to run the sacrifice bunt, and even though it doesn't always work, yesterday it certainly did, and the ball is hit into Fantone on the throw, as the throw was on time, but the fielders just weren't. There was basically no one covering the bag by the time the throw got there, and looking more like Messi than Ricky Henderson, Fantone does a diving kick for the ball, scoring it into the outfield. So a scoring base, not a scoring base, a stolen base. Puts a runner in scoring position, and if a sacrifice bunt works well, it could get a runner on third for Maria Galehouse, who's on deck.
And let's see if that's maybe Leslie Cantor tipping her hand a little bit, that maybe the Spartans are going to be aggressive here in the early going.
And indeed, aggression could be working. We see the sacrifice bunt get through 2 fielders. So not only does Fantone get to third, Lily Keister gets on base after what I'm not sure will be graded as a fielder's choice or an error because of the missed fielding opportunity. And already a little bit of pressure. And Valdosta State, they're going to have a meeting in the circle. But honestly, I wouldn't grade any of those issues on Richards. I think it's probably just him trying to tell the infield, hey, keep calm. That was just one bad play. We know what happened with Embry-Riddle yesterday against Tampa. Focus on fundamentals, as you were mentioning, and just focus on getting players out. These next upcoming batters are the toughest for the Spartans, but notably, they actually were cold yesterday. Gilhouse did get a winning RBI, but it came off a sacrifice bunt. Minor wasn't able to do much, and Russo had, I think, a couple strikeouts.
But I still like head coach Thomas Macera going out to the circle to talk to his battery and his infielders for Valdosta State and just let them know very early on, we're fine. They didn't score a run. We didn't give up a home run. The sky is not falling. But doing it at a time when better sooner than later, because if all of a sudden the Spartans start stringing together some hits and then it does get out of hand, as a coach you're going to second guess yourself and say, maybe I should have gone out there a little sooner to settle things down.
And right there, Lily Keister steals second after the first pitch. A good running attempt there by Keister, and a safe throw that isn't able to get Fantone home. So no damage done except a second runner in scoring position. Now you have to wonder, will we see Richards pitch a little more cautiously to Galehouse? Obviously, Galehouse has been one of the better batters for Tampa in general. That's going to be grounded to third, checks for third base, but Fantone won't move, and that'll be the first out of the inning. And good discipline there to pick it up and not immediately fire to first, because that's when you might see Fantone dash for home and be able to beat a throw.
Yeah, so now we're going to see Corinne Minor, the Spartans' third base player, and she boasts a .323 batting average and is always dangerous at the plate. Has played in all 47 games in 2022 and always shows up ready to play, even on the days when she's not pitching. They use her at third base. They count on her at the plate. And here she is in her usual number 4 spot in Leslie Cantor's batting order.
Now, the emergence of Feldman as an elite talent and the continued success with Galehouse has relegated Minor to the third starter or almost relieving role in some games. But she is so good at both positions, especially as a third base player. We've seen her make great defensive plays over the season. She's down 0-2 in the count now, but her biggest strength has to be her bat. Consistently one of the better Spartans bats. 3 home runs, all on a pretty strong away series early in the season, but a team-leading 30 RBIs. She'd love to get a few more right here. Checks up, but that one's a little high, so it'll be ball 1.
Well, she also understands the magnitude of this situation here. I mean, she's a veteran, and she sees that her coach has put her players in position being aggressive on the base paths, that there's now runners on second and third, and so Corinne knows there's some pressure here. They're counting on her to bring in at least one of these runs.
Here's the 1-2. Can Minor get it done? That's going to be popped up, and a simple catch made by Lewis. That is 2 away. So once again, we see Tampa getting in a good situation with runners in scoring position, but struggling to bring them home. Notably as well, last time out, Richards had the bases loaded in the first inning, but retired the side relatively calmly. So we're seeing a lot of good command and a lot of good focus from Richards to not worry about the base runners, to focus on getting outs. And with 2 outs, there's only 1 batter away from getting out of the jam.
And let's go back to that visit that head coach Thomas Macera made to the pitching circle for Valdosta State and encouraged his girls to just settle down, because all of a sudden that second out is huge for them now, and they got to feel confident as Alexa Russo is in the batter's box now for UT.
Russo is really a hot and cold player. When Russo's hot, she's nearly unstoppable. When cold, you're sometimes able to get those outs that you need. But there's a dropped ball, an infield error. One of Valdosta State's players still down for a second. That wasn't a good collision between the two. And that's going to bring a Spartan run home. They'll take a 1-0 lead. Disappointing for Valdosta State on that play, as it looked like that would be a routine fly ball. Even though it was falling quickly, the infielders had to run to it. Both players just not communicating enough of which player will get the ball, and it lands on the ground, and Fantone strolls home.
Yeah, and as disappointing as it is for the Blazers, the Spartans, on the other hand, they know that just happens in a game and over the course of a long season, and you just have to take advantage of those, and UT did. They score the game's first run, and you see, obviously, they're making sure that the injured player is going to be all right to continue. But as I said, UT says, we'll take it any way we can get it. We're up 1-0. They did not want to start off the game having 2 runners in scoring position and leave them both stranded. So now Lexi Chevalier comes to the plate with her team up 1-0, and she still has a runner on third base.
The good news is there's still just 2 outs. You don't lose an out on an error. So all you need to do is make sure the next fly ball does land in the glove instead of on the ground, and you'll be able to retire the side. And as you were mentioning, Tampa has benefited off those plays before, getting the win against Embry-Riddle in the bottom of the 7th, thanks to such an error previously, and here gets the lead to start because of it. Make that lead to 2-0 now, as Lexi Chevalier hits it perfectly between the third and short gap, and the Spartans continue their success early. And yeah, I think that's just unfortunate because the inning could have been over if that play was made for Valdosta State, but now they're looking at a 2-0 deficit early on.
And that's a huge RBI single for Chevalier. She's hitting .265 this season and starts off the game on the right foot offensively and adds to the team's lead. There's another base hit.
The throw home is going to be wild. Tampa takes a 3-0 lead as Emily Jansen gets her first hit, although it looks like she may have pulled something while running the first. Oh, no.
Well, and isn't that ironic that Valdosta State has a player that gets injured on the play that, as you said, could have ended the inning, and now UT starts to add to this lead, and all of a sudden comes up with a runner that's having some issues of her own, and so the scales of justice eventually level themselves out, as we're seeing here, and it's unfortunate for either team to lose a player regardless of the situation. Of course, in this case, you certainly put in a pinch runner. I mean, Emily Jansen is a fielder that they count on, so you're also thinking about, is she going to be able to continue defensively? But let's not overlook the fact that UT is now up 3-0 in the top of the first, and maybe Taylor, maybe them being the visiting team, kind of changed things up a little bit for them. All of a sudden, you're the first at bat, and by the way, for those who are wondering, it was merely a coin flip, and that's why UT is the visitor here. But maybe that's kind of changed things up for them. They get a good night's sleep. They did have a chance to watch Valdosta State play yesterday, so they have a little bit of a scouting report, and riding the high, of course, of that exciting bottom of the 7th win yesterday.
Indeed, and that high is definitely continued here. And even though Emily Jansen might be substituted with the pinch runner, I think she's able to walk it off, and she's a very big defensive part of the Spartans roster, so hopefully she'll stay in the field when they're on the defensive side. But notably, she had a tough game last time against Embry-Riddle, a couple flyouts on first pitches. This time it's a fly ball on a first pitch, but it lands perfectly in shallow right field to bring home an RBI. So a great hit for Emily Jansen, and the Spartans still lead. There's a pop fly and a good diving catch to make sure the inning is over this time by Gano. 2 runners get stranded, but the Spartans score with 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. 3-0 Spartans lead. Now it's time to see how the Blazers can respond. We'll be back. You're watching the NCAA Softball Tournament South Regional on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
We are back in Namoli Family Stadium. A little bit of extra pep in the step for the Spartans fielders, ecstatic about their 3-run lead after a very dominant first half of the inning. The Blazers have one of the best offenses in Division II, though, and are definitely ready to respond. Up first is Morgan Hill.
And Mariah Galehouse, the starting pitcher for UT today, and as Taylor mentioned, we've really seen her and Mary Beth Feldman kind of work their way into the sort of 1-2 slots, if you will, in the Spartans rotation, and obviously with a tremendous nod to Corinne Miner and the work that she does in the circle. But Galehouse, 27 appearances this season, has started 19 games of 15-7 one-loss record. And wow, 149 innings pitched for Galehouse, 0.75 ERA. And Taylor, we saw Galehouse yesterday come in and have to relieve Mary Beth Feldman, which is very unusual. But when Galehouse did come in, even though she was quote-unquote as the reliever, boy, she just really shut things down for Embry-Riddle in that game yesterday morning.
And that's just kind of unlucky, I'd argue, for Embry-Riddle, because they're able to get through the Spartans' arguably best pitcher with Feldman, who's been absolutely electric all season long, and then they have to face Galehouse, who also has a sub-1 ERA and has been equally as electric, and Galehouse was on peak form, while Feldman did have a little bit of a hiccup at first. So that defensive substitution, I think, proved vital to help the Spartans' victory, and because Galehouse didn't need to go the full distance, did go, I think, 4 1/3, she's got enough stamina to at least start out this game. Russo tries to make the grab, but it's going to roll past her, so the Blazers will start off with a hit as well.
Yeah, good start there for Morgan Hill for the Blazers, and we saw this for UT with the Spartans' leadoff hitter, Lauren Fantone, reaching base on a base hit, and so Valdosta State follows suit. And so that'll bring up the shortstop, Nikki Pennington, and we talked on yesterday's broadcast of the Blazers game that Nikki Pennington, wow, 14 home runs, 42 RBI, a .336 batting average. And so the Spartans obviously pleased to be up 3-0, but a lot of softball left to be played here. And when you got a great hitter like Pennington at the plate, you really got to be ready for this.
Yep, exactly. As there's a line drive down the line, Fantone picks it up. Runner's only going to be able to get to third because of the great fielding there by Fantone. But 2 runners now in a dangerous scoring position, so we can see the Blazers strike right back.
Let's not overlook the fact that this is a temporary fence that was put up yesterday morning for these games that are being played here. So 190 down the left field and right field lines and 220 to straightaway center. That ball could have kept going if this was not in place. And so you're right, between the combination of that and Lauren Fantone making the great play, they're able to, quote-unquote, only get runners in second and third. Otherwise, the goose egg could have already been off the board for the Blazers.
I'd argue if that was the standard Tampa fence, that could have been an inside-the-park home run. As we also know, Nikki Pennington is pretty fast. Now, as well, we want to just take a look at a defensive change. Unfortunately, Emily Jansen is still on the bench, so Abigail Siegel is going to be playing at first base for the time being.
Yeah,
that one's going to be in the dirt and gets away from Chevalier, but we're not going to see Hill try to stretch that to home. Ball 2.
Pennington 5 for 5 on stolen base attempts this season. And now Allie Clegg, the batter, hitting .331 this season. Coincidentally, also 5 for 5 on stolen bases, 45 RBI for her, and the same number as Pennington, 14 home runs.
Good framing attempt from Chevalier, but that's going to go outside. Ball 3. And we've seen Clegg hit 14 home runs this season. The shortened wall means that if Clegg could find 15, the damage done in the first inning would be completely negated. Here's the 3-0 to Clegg. And Galehouse not going to challenge Clegg. Bases are now loaded with no outs, but I think that was the right move, as Clegg is the most dangerous hitter for Valdosta State. You don't want to necessarily risk this dangerous position with a batter like her.
It's interesting in that Mariah Galehouse kind of had a little snicker on her face, and I thought, I can't imagine that she's looking at the home plate umpire and saying, "Are you kidding me?" Because that was not in the strike zone. So just a little interested as to what that's about, as you see Leslie Cantor out there talking to both her and catcher Lexi Chevalier, as well as the 4 infielders. And so this is really kind of what we saw on the top of the first, with the Blazers head coach Thomas Massera going out and trying to settle his troops down. Now all of a sudden Leslie Cantor's having to do the same thing with her Spartans as the bases are loaded for Valdosta State.
This was always going to be an interesting matchup, as Tampa, one of the best rotations in the nation, facing off against Valdosta State, one of the hottest bats in the nation, where you get essentially an immovable pitching force against an immovable object in the hitting strength of the Blazers. And we actually looks like it's going to be leaning more to the offensive scales right here, depending on what happens at this at-bat. First pitch taken for strike 1 on the low corner. And I was just taking a peek over at the visitors' bullpen, which we usually don't see Spartans in because they're nearly always the home team here. But I actually see Mary Beth Feldman warming up, fouled away, so you can't grade that as a wild pitch. That is going to be strike 2, 0-2 count.
This is the first base player, Aniston Gano, and a .320 batting average. She's also in double digits in home runs with 10 and has 35 RBI. and hitting in the cleanup spot.
Feldman, that's a risky take, but the risk pays off. Ball one.
Rather animated Galehouse in the circle.
And I don't blame her because that was definitely a close call. I think Galehouse is saying, come on, it's bases loaded. You got to give me that. But this time she gets the strikeout for the first out of the inning. It just took her one extra pitch, one out after the Gano strikeout, and that will bring up Katie Proctor.
This is interesting, Taylor, because you and I talked yesterday about the good sportsmanship that we see these student-athletes display all the time here. And Mariah Galehouse is not only making us look bad, but it's very unusual for her, and you also, if you're Leslie Cantor, you don't want your pitcher distracted by what the umpire is or isn't doing, so she needs to shake that off and refocus.
And I agree. I think it's probably playoff nerves and worrying about the lead because at this point bases are loaded. It is necessarily in jeopardy. You've got what would be the go-ahead run at the plate, the tying run at first, but I think Galehouse just needs to settle down and focus on what she's been known to do, which is lights-out pitching. That pitch is going to be taken strike one, so 2-1 count now.
And the other thing that she has to do is, whether she likes it or not, she just has to recognize and then adjust to what that umpire's strike zone is.
And agreed, every umpire has a different strike zone. Some will favor more inside, some will favor more outside pitches. It's up to the pitcher to recognize that and figure out how to game plan around it. It could be annoying when you're in that feeling out process. But once you get it settled down, you'll usually find things can be a lot better. Balmer, force out at home, but the throw is going to go wide. And that'll be the first run of the game for the Blazers off the error. That's just a high throw. And honestly, I think she should have just taken the force out at second because a run is likely scoring. You have a 3-run buffer. Focus on putting your pitcher in a better situation and don't try to be the hero all the way up at the second base line.
Yeah, and in what you're describing, it's going to be such a much shorter throw. You're right there adjacent to second base as opposed to a long throw to home that has a high percentage of happening what you just saw.
Chevalier was able to get it, so a second run didn't score, but now bases remain loaded with one out. That ball is going to be taken down and away. So, of course, up now is Macera. And Taylor Macera has had a pretty good start. A couple hits in the most previous game. That one's going to be grounded to Russo. Russo makes the force out at home, but safe because Siegel's foot wasn't on the bag. And I think it was also a little bit late on the throw. But importantly, Tampa was able to get an out there, so there's 2 outs. Bases do remain loaded on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, that's a really impactful defensive play because they accomplished 2 things. They prevented Valdosta State from cutting the deficit to 1, and all of a sudden now there's 2 outs, and it really changes the complexion of things.
Now, I'll argue, because it was a more shallow ball, that was a smarter play from Russo to try to get to home. But for Balmer, she was up nearly where she was right now, so that was not only going to be just an incredibly hard throw, because you already have a forced play at the plate. The runner's going to be running no matter what. It's just everything else that goes into it. Swing and a miss, though, that pitch for strike 1. So great stuff there from Gales to get the whiff from Lewis, who's hoping to try to get this game tied up for the Blazers.
And in addition, Alexa Russo witnessed her teammate with an errant throw home, so it underscored for her the importance of being right on target when she threw it to Chevalier at home plate to get that runner out.
Strike 2, the framing starting to come into play, and now it's a 1-2 count to Lewis, and despite the slow start, Galehouse might be able to get out of the jam. That one on the edge of the plate, strike 3 called, and Galehouse is going to retire the side. 2 strikeouts, but a run does come home on 2 hits, and the run actually was scored on the errant throw from Balmer. But the good news for Spartans fans, if you missed the top half of the first inning, they still lead 3-1 entering the second. Due next for the Spartans, Mackenzie Allen, Lauren Fantone, and Lily Keister. We'll be back in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
And we are back into Moley Family Stadium, and Bruce, an incredibly exciting first inning of play. We've seen bases get loaded, we've seen runs come home, we've seen some big hits, and right now the Spartans lead 3-1, but still 6 more innings of softball at worst to play.
Well, and you have to be surprised if you watched Valdosta State's game yesterday because it was 1-0. And so to have a game that already has 4 runs between the two teams combined after 1 inning, you go, wait a minute, is this what anyone expected?
And notably as well, Richards, one of the best pitchers in the nation, of course, was named the D2CCA Pitcher of the Year. A very uncharacteristic slow start for her, although you could also argue there was the fielding error that brought in a run, and just unlucky balls that got to the outfield were able to beat her. She hasn't looked completely off her game, and I don't imagine the fatigue issues that could be straining her arm would be in effect until later on. She is coming off a 115-pitch outing yesterday from the 3 p.m. game. There's a line drive to the outfield by Allen, and that is going to be Meadows tracking it down and making that play look easy, but Meadows did need to get some distance to make it happen.
Now in the top of the second, yes, we are already to the back to the top of the order for the Spartans. And so Lauren Fantone, the hitter, as I mentioned, she led off the game with a single.
First pitch taken, outside corner, strike 1. And indeed, Fantone was able to get a single and get home. So a run and a hit. That's a good start for Fantone as the leadoff hitter. And I know she'd like to do it again. Has a chance to with 1 out. That pitch taken outside, but strike 2 as it was on the edge of the zone. Good control there by Richards, looking for a potential first strikeout of the game. 281 in the regular season. Would love to record a few more right here. The 0-2. That one a little bit high. Ball 1.
Lauren Fantone, .315 batting average, has played all 47 games in 2022.
Fantone has been one of the Spartans' best hitters, a consistently good batter to get on base and lead off. That's why she bats in the leadoff spot for the Spartans. And a good eye right there to not fall for the bait pitch. Count goes to 2-2. Richards at this point on 26 pitches, getting ready from the circle for pitch 27. So a slightly quicker start right now for Richards. Not as high of a pitch count early on, despite the longer first inning. That's fouled away into the Valdosta dugout. As we mentioned before, that one's usually the dugout for Tampa, but a little bit different this time around. Checks the wrist one more time. Richards ready and fires. Fouled away again. This time it's going to land in Valdosta's bullpen. Valdosta State's bullpen. I apologize. So the Blazers ace ready to get back to work. 2-2. It's going to be a pop out. Penning makes the simple play. And yeah, Pennington, very, very good defender at shortstop so far. We've seen her make some good plays throughout the first couple games. And right there, makes a routine fly ball look even more routine than it really was. And that'll bring up Keister with 2 outs.
Lily Keister is also 1 for 1, another player that contributed to the Spartans' 5 hits in the first inning.
Keister also was able to get all the way home after the sac bunt attempt led to a hit. Keister's going to take that first pitch outside, ball 1.
Keister hitting .333 this season. She's played in 37 games, has 7 RBI, and a .366 on-base percentage. Hoping to keep the second inning alive for UT.
That one's taken outside, so good eye by Keister to open up the at-bat. And even though the count is right now 2-0, Valdosta State, a big recovery after a slow start in the first inning. Their ace pitcher, Richards, starting to get into gear and get things settled down. No strikeouts yet from the strikeout king of Division II. At least, it's safe to assume there's no one that could realistically get more than 281 strikeouts. That one low and in the zone, strike 1. So Keister, still in a nice hitter's count. 2-1 is always a space where you can play around as a hitter. You're free to take a pitch or two. We'll have to see how Richards can respond right here. The 2-1 to Keister. That one's going to be in the zone, strike 2. Good breaking action to try to get to the outside. Keister, of course, has the platoon advantage, being a lefty against a righty. But still, never easy going up against one of the best pitchers in D2. If Valdosta State go and retire the Spartans in order, here's the pitch, 2-2. Swing and a miss. First strikeout of the game for Richards, and the Spartans go down in order. Valdosta State still trails by 2, but Everson, Meadows, and Hill are due up and looking to change that. We'll be back on the Tampa Spartans TV, Sunshine State Conference Digital Network for more NCAA South Region softball. And we are back in the Moley Family Stadium. The Spartans are retired in order. Galehouse will be hoping to do the same to Valdosta State. Good news for Spartans fans. Emily Jansen is back in the game at first base. Looks like she'll be okay to continue, which is a great sign. She is the tallest player in the Spartans, and her height has allowed her to make some really tough plays at first throughout the season. That first pitch is going to be taken outside. Ball 1. Everson with her first at-bat here. Now, notably as well, even though Tampa was able to nearly hit around the entire lineup in the first inning, so did Valdosta State. As Everson's their 8th batter, Meadows, who's up next, is their 9th batter, and then Hill, top of the order, as the 3rd batter of the inning. That pitch taken inside, 1-1. That's going to be grounded. Galehouse looking to pick it up. Goes foul, though. So, little chopper isn't going to lead to a hit. Everson will be a little bit disappointed, as it looked like one of those plays that would lead to a hit.
Bailey Everson. In 2022 is hitting .313. No home runs, 4 RBI. Has played in 45 games. And batting against Mariah Galehouse here in the bottom of the 2nd.
Everson, a good eye, takes that low. Everson's a part of a pretty strong Valdosta State outfield that has been active in making some good plays. They haven't been super active so far, as Tampa has hit a majority of their balls in the infield. Here's a play to Balmer, gets by Balmer, and deflects over to Russo, who has to run up and pick it up. The good news is the deflection didn't kick into the outfield, so Everson stays at first.
There was a play that we saw like that yesterday where I commented on the fact that Mariah Galehouse made the decision, I'm going to let this one go past me and let the fielder behind me handle this one. She did the same thing there, and it could have been the difference, again, of making that out. I'm surprised that she's letting these go past her because of the timing involved.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like reactions. Maybe you feel like you're just going to hurt the play more if you can't react fast enough. And gets caught in a pickle. The attempt to steal hasn't worked here. Everson gets it, though. Beats the pickle. Tampa not able to get Everson out. So what looked like an absolute disaster, Everson slipping on her way back to first base, is able to beat it out, forcing a couple bad throws from the Spartans. And now the runner's in scoring position. Disappointing for the Spartans. The Blazer says, hey, thank you very much. We got our runner to second without a lot of effort.
Yeah, very disappointing for the Spartans. And Leslie Cantor, I'm sure, is shaking her head over that one, because if you're going to continue to advance and continue to go further and further into the NCAA playoffs, you got to make a routine put out like that one when you've got a runner dead to rights on the base path.
Count goes to 1-1 now for Meadows. Everson's still on second. Meadows would be the tying run. And notably, what we said yesterday, of course, fielding errors can be the big difference. It was for Embry-Riddle, and it's ironically today, Tampa the team that already has an error on the board, unlike Valdosta State. And even though that was an error, I think you could call that pickle breakdown an error for the Spartans too. That one goes through and nutmegs, actually, Galehouse. Galehouse, a really smart play to prevent the run from going home, to keep Meadows at second, but runners at the corners with no outs. And we have, once again, a slower start for Galehouse this inning.
A really good throw, though, by Lily Keister. That is really what led to the runner holding up at third base, because Keister got that ball in so quick, and as you mentioned, Galehouse decides, okay, she's not going home, let's just cut it off right here. But let's give credit to Lily Keister, fielded the ball cleanly, got it back in right away, and that prevented the Blazers, for the time being, from getting another run on the board.
Yeah, Keister's been able to do that all season, elite fielding from center field, making those good plays and preventing would-be runs from coming home. Hill's now back up, already has a single. Another hit would get that deficit down to 1. First pitch fouled away, so the 0-1 now from Galehouse. Fouled away again, so the count goes to 0-2. That one doesn't clear the fence, is going to bounce back onto the field. Hill so far, the lefty freshman. Actually, sophomore. From Lake Park, Georgia. Checks up, holds up in time for ball 1.
Home plate umpire, checks with third base with his colleague, and Hill happy with that.
The 1-2 now from Galehouse. That's going to be grounded to short. Makes the play at the plate. The fielder's choice works, and the score stays 3-1. 2 runners on, but now, crucially, 1 out.
Chevalier pretty aggressive with that tag there, and wanted to make sure that absolutely she was not going to let the Blazers get another run. And so now UT continues to lead by 2.
And I don't blame her for being aggressive on the tag. She didn't want there to be any debate on whether she was safe at the plate. Very good throw from Balmer. This time the ball being shallow enough to make the play at home possible. That first pitch is taken low, ball 1. Strike 1. That one's in the dirt for ball 2. The throw to third. Chevalier couldn't stop the double steal. That was a decent throw, but just pulls Minor a little too far forward. And Valdosta State moves both runners into scoring position.
But a good catch by Corinne Minor, though, because if she hadn't stretched out the way she did, that one would have gone into left field. So now runners at second and third for Valdosta State.
Pitch taken outside, so now we've got a 3-0 count now to Pennington. And wonder, similarly, will the bases get loaded again? They will not, as that one is taken for strike 1. So actually, that was taken for a ball, but there was a strike earlier. So the count now, 3-1. Pennington at the plate. Doubled last time. There's a drive that's going to go deep, but has a chance. No, it's going to be caught there by Fantone. Throwing to third and home won't be in time. That one looked dangerously close to leaving the park. Fantone makes sure it's an out. But for the Blazers, they'll take some solace in the fact that it's a sac fly that brings the game to 3-2.
Yeah, and that's a textbook sacrifice fly. And so they cut the deficit to 1, but in the process, 2 outs now. So UT trying to close things out here, prevent Valdosta State from converting that runner, and they're not going to be successful.
Clegg not able to go down for the Spartans. Well, no, the Spartans not able to retire Clegg. Clegg there with a 2-out double, and the game is tied at 3.
I'll tell you what, before this game, if you would have seen that Samantha Richards was pitching for Valdosta State and Mariah Galehouse for UT, you'd say, oh boy, we're going to be locked into some kind of pitcher's duel here. We might be looking at extra innings, we might be looking at a 1-0 game. And no, 3-3. 3-3. And by the way, did I mention we're only in the bottom of the second? And there's 6 runs between the two teams combined. I don't think anyone could have seen this coming.
I mean, the two have a massive offensive showdown so far, and definitely uncharacteristic given that the pitchers' combined ERA rests surely around 1.2 to 1.3. And we already have 6 runs. That's more runs that were scored in total. Actually, sorry, the same amount of runs scored in total yesterday. And we still have 5 innings, potentially more to go. That one's taken for strike 1 and strike 2 now. The count goes to 1-2. Galehouse looking to get out of the inning. Here's a line drive into the gap. Surely Valdosta State takes the lead. They do. Keister throwing to second. Not in time. It's another 2-out double. And Valdosta State has climbed back from the 3-run deficit in the first inning with 3 runs in the second to take the lead. And I think at this point, the Spartans are going to be calling in Mary Beth Feldman from the bullpen. We saw her warming up in the first inning. And just like in Game 1, another defensive substitution.
Well, this is interesting because we saw the exact opposite yesterday. We saw Feldman start and Galehouse relieves her. And now this time Galehouse starts and they have to come in with Mary Beth Feldman. And as I was saying, if you would have looked at that starting pitching matchup, you would never have imagined 7 runs combined by the 2 teams through 2 innings and a pitching change by the Spartans. And so obviously Leslie Cantor has seen enough and is hoping that the pitching change and a clean slate for Mary Beth Feldman will settle things down for her Spartans team, because right now this is really quite a turnaround that we're seeing by Valdosta State.
Valdosta State responded to that first inning in kind with this one. And the difference, of course, in their top half of the second inning, they were able to shut the Spartans down. Spartans haven't done the same. So 1 2/3 on 43 pitches, 4 runs, only 3 of them earned for Maria Galehouse as her start comes to the end. An end.
For the record, Mariah Galehouse does move to right field, so she will still be in the game, but Mary Beth Feldman now in the circle for the Spartans.
Feldman once again, a great start.
And so Katie Proctor, the designated player, hitting now for the Blazers.
First pitch taken high and outside. Feldman didn't have a great start yesterday, but this season has had great starts, a sub-.5 ERA and a perfect game earlier. And the Spartans would love to see how far she could get perfect to keep Valdosta State's offense from doing much more. That's a big swing and a miss for strike 1. Feldman kicks and fires. That one's in the dirt. Chevalier quick to get up and make sure the runner stays at second. Two-one from Feldman. Readies and fires from the circle. That's going to be fouled away. Count goes to 2-2. And yeah, to iterate the change, Mackenzie Allen goes to the bench. Galehouse to right field, and Feldman now in the circle. The 2-2, that's going to be high, so the count will go full with 2 outs to Proctor. Proctor earlier had a fielder's choice to short.
Despite all this activity that we've seen, let's not overlook the fact that it's only a 1-run game. So I think if UT can get out of this jam, they can feel good about themselves, that all they need is 1 run to tie the game back up, and then it's basically 0-0 at that point.
Then the Spartans' offense was pretty strong in the first inning, so if they're able to find another flash of success, it's not hard to imagine that they could definitely tie it back up. Also considering that Valdosta State's pitcher is eventually going to find some fatigue, you'd have to assume at least, because she is coming off 115 pitches yesterday. 3-2 from Feldman. That one's popped up, but the inning will continue as that one rolls off the net.
Well, and I think contrarily, if you're a fan of the Blazers, you say that it is our ace, and she did pitch 215 innings this season, so she's used to the heavy workload, and they're going to feel confident that their starting pitcher is going to settle down and find her groove.
Feldman on the outside corner, but it's going to be just outside for a walk. A good at-bat by Proctor to get another runner on with 2 outs. The only benefit for the Spartans is that there are 2 outs, and 1 will end the inning. Now up is Macera. An interesting note about Taylor Macera, Coach Thomas Macera's daughter. So, always a little bit fun to be playing for your dad.
Taylor Macera is the second base player and hit into a fielder's choice in the first.
And there's a pop-up. Will it land? Russo tracks it down and makes what is a difficult catch. The inning is over, but before it ended, 3 runs on 4 hits, and Valdosta State takes a 4-3 lead as we enter the top of the 3rd inning. We'll be back for more NCAA tournament softball.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
It is a nice warm day back at the University of Tampa at Namoli Family Stadium. 4-3 Valdosta State lead after a big second inning. And as you were saying, Bruce, one would expect for Richards and Galehouse to have a true pitcher's duel. Instead, we've seen an offensive display like the cannons firing throughout World War II. One cannon is fired again as Galehouse is going to try to bring some run support for her teammate with a single to lead off. Actually, it was Galehouse. I almost got confused because Galehouse and Minor, who is now ready to go, have similar numbers. 21 and 22 look similar on the jerseys.
And Galehouse has to be kind of exhaling a little bit there, feeling a little bit better after getting pulled as the starting pitcher, and contributes offensively now and sets up the number 4 hitter, Corinne Minor.
Minor looking for the sacrifice bunt. A good attempt there from Lewis, but can't come up with the ball. Count goes to 0-1.
Yeah, nice attempt there by Taylor Lewis to lay out for that one, even though she missed it. And so Corinne Minor stays alive with, as I was mentioning, her teammate Mariah Galehouse down at first base representing the tying run.
And now you'd also have to imagine that Tampa's normal strategy with a runner on first, get that runner to second by a sacrifice bunt. Minor this time gets it down. Minor can't beat the throw, but the sacrifice does its job. And Galehouse gets a second with 1 out.
You got to love when the athletes make us look good up here, and Taylor called that one. Corinne Minor responds with the sacrifice bunt. Galehouse, as I mentioned, the tying run. Now in scoring position as Alexa Russo comes to the plate, and she's 1 for 1. Had an RBI single in the first inning. So the door open now for UT to try to tie this up here in the top of the 3rd.
Russo has been in an RBI arms race all season against Corinne Minor. And Corinne has had the advantage, but I know throughout the playoffs, Russo, simultaneously wanting to help the team, will also want to try to close that gap. The RBI single helped earlier. And now with Galehouse on second, Russo hoping to get a ball in play to try to get Galehouse home, or at the very worst, advance her to third if it does end in an out. There's going to be a fly ball to center. It will go very much shorter than center, as Macera is able to track back, make the play for 2 outs. So
by chance, if you just joined us and you're wondering why is it the top of the 3rd and UT is batting, it was decided by a coin toss because this is NCAA tournament play. It's not just a regular season home Spartans game. And so do not adjust your sets, as the saying goes. We really are in the top half of the 3rd inning and 2 away for UT.
First pitch taken inside, strike 1 on the inside corner to Chevalier. Chevalier was also able to bring an RBI home on a hit earlier and would love to do it again to get this game back to 4-4, another tie. And as you said, Bruce, that would be essentially a 0-0 scoreline. There's a fly ball out right, that'll be fouled. And Richards, who's now a little bit over 40 pitches throughout 2 2/3, would certainly love to get out of this jam. And throughout the 2 days of pitching so far, she's now reached over 150 pitches thrown. So the ace is able to go the distance for Valdosta State. Now can she clear this jam right here? Chevalier ready for the 0-2. That one's taken just high and outside. Ball 1. Galehouse stays at second. It looked like Lewis wanted to make sure Galehouse wasn't going to try to steal third.
And speaking of this being NCAA postseason play, we've got more games for you today. At 3 o'clock, we'll see Embry-Riddle play Rollins. Both of those teams are actually here in the stands watching this game, obviously doing some scouting.
Because they know they'll be playing the loser of this game, of whoever wins between those two, at 6 p.m. Because we have games 1 and 2 of the losers bracket. After this, game 3 of the winners bracket. Chevalier stays alive with a foul ball. And notably, of course, Chevalier looking to get another hit, looking to maybe get another RBI. The 1-2. That one taken high and outside. Ball 2. Chevalier forcing a longer at bat. The winner of this game won't have to worry about playing later tonight. They won't have to worry until tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the final of the winners bracket, where if that winner then loses, they then have to play at 4 as part of the double elimination format. Swing and a miss! Strikeout for Richards. The inning is over. Spartans get a runner on a hit, but that runner is stranded, left to dry at second base. Spartans still trail the Blazers 4-3 as the Blazers get ready for the bottom half of the third inning. We'll be back on the Sunshine State Conference Network for NCAA Tournament Softball.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
So we are back in the Moley Family Stadium. Everyone warming up, but you've got some pretty unfortunate news. It is starting to rain. It doesn't really look like a type of weather for rain, but it is coming down. We imagine that they might want to bring out the tarp eventually, so we could have a little bit of delay. We'll keep you posted as warm-ups conclude. We will get, I think, some chance to go for the bottom half of the third inning.
Yeah, the 3 umpires were talking during our commercial break, and clearly that's what the discussion was. And so it looks like for the time being they're going to continue, and let's hope that this is a passing shower, as they say, and that it won't interrupt things. But right now we're going to continue on with the bottom of the third as the catcher Taylor Lewis set to lead things off here for the Blazers, and her team in the lead 4-3.
So we have Feldman ready to go from the circle against Lewis. Lewis 0 for 1. First pitch taken, strike 1 on the outside corner. Lewis struck out looking last time. Did not want to have that happen again. And once again, for any viewers just joining us, bottom half of the third inning, Valdosta State won the home field advantage from coin flip. That one's going to be taken inside, ball 1.
So some changing conditions here, both in terms of not only the weather, but Mary Beth Feldman now starting this inning after she relieved Mariah Galehouse in the previous inning. And you see the count even now at 1-1. Feldman pitching to Lewis here.
So a little bit of chaos so far from the offensive fireworks, a little passing shower. That looks like it might be cooling down. That pitch is going to go a little bit wild. The count goes to 2-1 there. 3-1 actually. So here's the 3-1 to Lewis from Feldman. And Feldman will get a walk right here. Lewis gets to first base. That's a second walk of the game for Feldman. I think pitching cautiously, not wanting to give up too many hits. She knows the Blazers' offense has been pretty good so far. And now Everson, ready to go, had a single last time around.
And
we actually have a pitch runner.
Yeah, it's going to be Kayla Tassone in to run for Lewis.
So Tassone now on first. So Tassone on first, ready to pinch run, and have to wonder whether she's going to go to second. Whether Valdosta State look to run a sacrifice bunt. We'll have to see what happens. First pitch to Everson, taken low. Chevalier looks to first, doesn't fire. Ball one.
Everson with a nice opportunity here, as her team would love to add to this lead and do so against the Spartans' ace.
And out at first by a step. The sacrifice bunt does the job, and Everson almost able to run it out. Tassone gets the second. Now, runner in scoring position for Meadows, who also has a hit in this game.
And to further that point, if Valdosta State can do a little bit of damage here against Mary Beth Feldman, then you're head coach Leslie Cantor for UT, and you're going, okay, now what? Because they already got Mariah Galhouse out of the circle. Now they're having success against my ace. So big opportunity here for Valdosta State with a runner in scoring position and only one out in the bottom of the third.
So strike one taken on the outside corner, well-placed pitch. Meadows singled and was also able to score as a runner. That pitch going to be taken high. Ball one. And notably, Meadows' first at-bat was in the second inning, so that was where a lot of Valdosta State's players were able to hit. I think they nearly were able to hit around the order, but they're just a little bit shy in doing so. Here's now the 1-1 to Meadows. Fouls that away. Count goes to 1-2 with one out.
Hunter Meadows, 290 in the regular season. Well, I should say 43 games played, so just a couple games short of having appeared in all of Valdosta State's games. One, two on the way to her.
Fouls that away. Gets the bat to it. It's a swing, nearly missed. Tips it enough. Bat stays alive. 1-2 once more. On deck, Morgan Hill. 1 for 2. Would love to have this runner inherited for a chance to expand the lead. To see what Meadows can do with it, though. Fouled away one more time into the back netting. Netting does a good job of keeping fans protected from any errant foul balls.
And I'm going to guess by the fact that some of the fans are returning to the seating area that the rain is lightening up a bit.
I checked outside not too long ago. It looked like it did. Grounder to second. Russo makes the force out at first. Runner gets to third, so it's a productive out. But now with 2 outs, that runner on third is, I'd argue, 50% less scary. And now, again, Hill inherits a runner at third, ready to go with 2 outs. And Hill is 1 for 2 today so far. If Hill was able to turn that to be 2 for 3, it would help the Blazers. But if she's 1 for 3, it would end the inning. First pitch is going to be taken on the outside corner. Strike one. That nearly was a ball. Hill was able to get a hit in the first, but had a fielder's choice in the third inning.
Keep in mind that the Blazers have Tassone over at third base.
So a little faster runner. Might just be better trying to get a force out at first if there's a ball in play, rather than trying to do heroics and get the runner out at home. So count's going to go now to 1-1 with the pitch well outside. Feldman ready to go once again from the circle. Swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-2. Feldman looking to get a first strikeout and to ultimately retire the side. This would be the first inning of the game that Valdosta State wouldn't find a run. Their offense has been doing really well so far. 1-2 to Hill. That's a line drive, gets to the outfield. Valdosta State takes a 5-3 lead. And I apologize, that was a commentator's curse because Valdosta State does find a little run support this time around. Hill gets on base, and now Pennington back up here. Pennington, 1 for 1, alongside an RBI sac fly. The Blazers lead 5-3. New count now, 0-0 to Pennington. First pitch taken, ball 1, just a little up high. Here's the 1-0 to Pennington. One just outside again, ball 2. And that is the thing, Bruce. If Feldman starts to struggle, you arguably should just probably keep her in and eat as many innings as she can, because you're likely then playing at 6, and you don't have to worry about a Corinne Minor or worse, a Kate DeSimone start, who are arguably the 3 and 4 pitchers for the Spartans. Both have proven to do well in the past, but in a win-or-go-home game, you want to make sure that you don't exhaust your 2 best pitchers completely. That pitch taken outside again, 3-1 count.
Five to 3 now, as Valdosta State has scored at least 1 run in each of the first 3 innings. We're still in the bottom of the 3rd.
And now one fouled off of Chevalier. Chevalier is A-OK. And we get a full count with 1 on and 2 outs. Full count ready to Pennington. Feldman from the circle, ready and fires. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Feldman. The side is retired, but not before the Blazers get a hit and a run. They lead 5-3 entering the top of the 4th. We'll be back for NCAA playoff softball.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Academic opportunities are extensive and rigorous, but this mid-sized residential campus retains a welcoming feel. With a student-faculty ratio of 16:1, students benefit from direct interaction with expert faculty, a faculty that is passionate about teaching and mentoring. Outside the classroom, UT enjoys a unique environment. Plant Hall, a National Historic Landmark, is surrounded by modern and historic buildings on 105 acres. UT's beautiful downtown riverfront setting offers a gateway to the heart of a vibrant city. Students are within walking distance of jobs and internships, and the recreational opportunities are endless, both off-campus and on campus. Students live in upscale residence halls and enjoy diverse activities, including performing arts, guest lectures.
Welcome back to the Moldy Family Stadium for Game 3 of the winners bracket in the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball. The start of this game back in the first inning saw the Spartans take an overtake into turn 1, but through turn 2 with some DRS help, the Blazers were able to retake the lead and lead 5-3 as the 4th inning is now underway. Leading off for the Spartans, Emily Jansen. She went down with an injury in the first, but is back and looking as good as ever. That one's going to be popped up and fielded cleanly. First out of the inning, so Jansen falls to 1-2. After an RBI single, disappointing for Jansen to get out here. Stephanie Ballmer ready to go with 1 out now.
And keep in mind, if you're a fan of one of these 2 teams, the winner of this game will play again tomorrow, and the loser of this game will be playing at 6 o'clock. And, of course, I mentioned before that after this game we'll have a 3 o'clock game for you. Embry-Riddle is going to take on Rollins. So still plenty more softball to be played both today and then at least one game tomorrow, possibly two.
Yep. And for today, 3 p.m., we get the first game of the losers bracket. Embry-Riddle and Rollins will be able to face the loser of this game, and this is game 2 of the losers bracket, later tonight. Here's the 0-1. Ballmer tries to drop a bunt. That's going to go backwards. Foul ball, so the count goes to 0-2.
Yeah, I was a little confused as to why she was running so hard and why the catcher was ready to make the throw. Clearly that was a foul. And so they'll reset here as UT bats in the top of the 4th with 1 out and trailing 5-3. 13 hits combined so far between the two teams. 7 for Valdosta State and 6 for the Spartans. 5 of the Spartans' hits came in the first inning alone.
That one's popped up. This time it will stay fair, and that is the 2nd out of the inning. So Richards a lot cleaner in the 3rd and 4th innings so far, and looking to get the Spartans down in order once again. Mackenzie Allen ready to go 0 for 1 with a line out earlier.
You could make an argument cleaner in the 2nd inning too, because UT got all 3 of their runs in the 1st and have gone silent, at least in the sense of not getting on the scoreboard since then, and really got to start getting to work, because I talked about this earlier, Taylor. All of a sudden the game moves quickly and you find yourself more than halfway through the game and trailing by 2 now, and Valdosta State looking very complete both offensively and defensively. The Spartans got to find a way to manufacture some offense.
The Spartans' run of good form from yesterday's win looks to have cooled off, so now they need to get out of the mud, and arguably you could call this dirt a little bit of mud. We had passing showers not too long ago. The good news is, looks like they've cleared up. We won't need to bring out the tarp. So Mackenzie Allen ready to go as we have a little bit of conversation from the Valdosta dugout. As usually Tampa's dugout, but of course coin flip there, the away team, so they're on the right side instead of the left today.
Yeah, there's some sort of roster discussion taking place between Valdosta State head coach Thomas Macera and the home plate umpire. It is Mackenzie Allen batting, so it's not Leslie Cantor putting in a pinch hitter. And whatever that conversation was about, it's done. And so now Allen ready to bat here with 2 out in the top of the 4th.
The 0-0 to Allen, takes first pitch, strike 1 on the outside corner. Richards so far 2 strikeouts, although 6 hits and 3 earned runs. Good news though, that all came in the first inning, and the Blazers have been able to respond in kind with 5. Ready to the 0-1 from the circle to Allen. That one's going to be also the outside corner, strike 2, pretty much a similar pitch, and same result.
Allen lined out to the center fielder in the 2nd inning, and trying to break through here against Samantha Richards, who, as Taylor said, has really kind of settled in the pitching circle for the Blazers.
That one's going to be grounded to third. A good grab, out by a step. So Clegg makes a nice grab and a simple, calm throw. Took the time to make sure it wasn't going to go wide. And the inning is over. Spartans go down in order once again. No hits, no runs, no errors. And we're ready for the bottom of the 4th. Valdosta State ready to go once again. They still lead 5-3.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly,
we are back in Moly Family Stadium. Thank you for tuning in to NCAA Tournament Softball on the Sunshine State Conference Network. Currently, the Blazers lead the Spartans in Game 3 of the winners bracket, 5-3. Swing and a miss for Clegg to start out, but Clegg had a huge at-bat last time, an RBI double that was able to help expand the Blazers' lead. Also walked in the first inning. But now down 0-1 in the count. Grounded to third, Corinne with a good play and a good throw, leading to the first out of the inning.
Other than the fact that it was a slap hit for the Spartans, that was basically a mirror image of what closed things out for UT in the top of the fourth. And so the Spartans turn the tables and are successful defensively here for the first out of the bottom of the fourth, as the Blazers now send Aniston Gano to the plate. She's 1 for 2 in the game, struck out in the first and had an RBI double in the second.
So Gano looking to continue the good run of form for the Blazers here. But for now, Feldman has, I think, settled in a little bit better and already was able to retire the first batter. Gano 1 for 2, got the platoon advantage. That one is going to be taken just outside. Ball 1, count goes to 1-1. Feldman looks, readies, and fires. That one's a little bit low, ball 2. Good patience from Gano, who struck out in the first inning. Getting a little more settled and, I think, a little less aggressive at the plate. Feldman takes a breath. They don't usually consult a wristband or dugout, so here's the 2-1 from Feldman. There's going to be a fly to center. Keister tracks it down for the second out of the inning.
Taylor, I think what else we've seen as this game has gone along is these pitchers have adjusted to home plate umpire Don Maddox's strike zone. We saw Mariah Gelhaus kind of being frustrated by that early on, and it looks like both Mary Beth Feldman for UT and Samantha Richards for the Blazers have accepted what Don Maddox is calling in terms of balls and strikes.
So here we go with a new at-bat right here with 2 outs. First pitch taken just a tad bit outside. It's Proctor this time. Walked and had a fielder's choice out in the first inning. The 1-0. That one's taken outside again. Already in a nice hitter's count. Proctor not as deadly as arguably Clegg or Pennington, but still has had a pretty successful season at the plate herself.
Yeah, and how .352 batting average coming into today, as you see the big swing and a miss. Proctor 7 home runs, 35 RBI, and so, you know, we talked about it before. This is a very powerful top of the order, 1 through 5, that the Blazers can send up.
And as we were mentioning, Tampa, they're known for their pretty strong pitching staff. Valdosta, apart from their best pitcher in the nation, they're known for their extremely good bats. And so far in this offensive showdown, Valdosta State's bats have proven to give them a slight edge. Now here's the 2-2 from Feldman. It's going to be popped up. Gelhaus makes the plan right. And the Blazers will actually go down in order for the first time this game. Entering the top of the fifth, the Blazers still lead the Spartans 5-3. A couple innings to go as each team is looking to get the rest of the day off.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
We are back at Namoli Family Stadium. Still a good day for softball, but a little cloudier with a little bit of showers earlier. Richards, over 160 pitches thrown throughout the 2 games she's started, but right now looking like she's not even breaking a sweat. After a little hiccup to get into first gear, stalling off the line in the first inning, Richards has been nearly lights out. Only a singular hit conceded for the Spartans in that period of time. First pitch taken to Fantone, outside. Second pitch, inside the zone, strike one. So 2 outside pitches. One of them lands a little too far to the left, the other one just enough. Of course, from the circle, Richard's seeing that as the right side. From the booth up here, we're seeing it as the left. Richard's getting ready. The 1-1 now to Fantone. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Really good stuff there to just get Fantone absolutely fooled. And that's a rarity to see Fantone fooled like that. One of the most consistent Spartan hitters, and even has a hit so far. Led off in the first with a hit and was able to get all the way home. 1-2 now to Fantone. Richards looking for a third strikeout. That's going to be grounded up the middle. That's a second hit of the game for Fantone, and some desperately needed offense for the Spartans. Tying run has a chance to get some action going at the plate, but knowing this Leslie Cantor offense, I'd say that the betting odds are probably 20 or 1 to 25 that they're going to run a sacrifice bunt here.
Well, nonetheless, it's great to see Lauren Fantone start off the inning with a base hit, because the Spartans are going to have to, as I said before, manufacture some offense, and here it is, the top of the 5th, and so that's a good shot in the arm for them, and knowing that it's top of the order, and so you got still the, presumably, unless there's a double play, you got the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up, so an opportunity here as Fantone singles, and now Lily Keister batting. Already has a single under her belt today, so she knows that she can hit Samantha Richards.
Yep. And that single did come off a bunt that was not only able to advance Fantone, it was able to get her on base too. Now you can see the infield pretty far in for Valdosta. I think the goal for Keister will mainly be to advance the runner, but who knows? For Valdosta State, that one foul, so a 0-2 count is a little bit more beneficial to them, as they might want to prevent any sacrifice bunt. But indeed, we know Keister can hit pretty well, too. Struck out in the second inning, but did get on base in the first. Let's see how Valdosta State's ace is able to deal with this 0-2 count.
Yeah, I'm looking down at first base. Denise Rubio, assistant coach for the Spartans, talking to Lauren Fantone. So let's see if the Spartans get aggressive on the base paths here.
0-2, taken outside. Ball 1. Good eye from Keister. Richards at this point getting close to 60 pitches, and at this point has passed 170 throughout the entire series, and I have a feeling she'll probably be back in the circle tomorrow as well, after a long night of ice on her arm. The 1-2. That one's going to be taken outside. Ball 2. Another good eye from Keister to watch that one go as a ball. We see Fantone at first getting ready. We see Galehouse on deck with Minor right behind. Unless there's the double play, we expect to see Galehouse and Minor both at the plate this inning. 2-2. Fouled away. Keister stays alive.
I know this is putting the cart before the horse, but since the loser of this game plays tonight at 6, if the Spartans can come back, it would be interesting to see, as you're talking about that pitch count, if they would go with Richards yet again in the same day.
I think they would rest Richards if they have to play again at 6, but certainly if they're able to win here or win later at 6, you could expect to see Richards tomorrow, as we had definitely thought that Richards might not be starting after 115 pitches yesterday, but Richards has been a beast all season, as we mentioned, over 200 innings pitched. What's a couple more in the playoffs needed? She's willing to go the distance to help her team. Absolutely love it. You can see her tenacity, her strength. One of the reasons why she's the D2 CCA pitcher of the season.
Yeah, I think if you're the head coach, you're going to second-guess yourself if you say, what if I would have started her because I was thinking about giving her rest and how much had taken its toll on her arm. And so that's a very tough move, and obviously you have to consult with your athlete, but the athlete's always going to say, I'm ready to go, put me in.
I mean, when's an athlete really going to say, no, I don't want to? That one's lined, and we get a double play after Richards makes a really nice catch in the circle, and that one catches Fantone off guard, and I don't blame Fantone. That one looked like it was going to get down for a little ground ball, but now the Spartans have no one on base and 2 outs. Heads up play from Richards. Valdosta State now able to get 2 outs here, and so we won't get a replay on that, unfortunately, but a great play, one of the plays I'd say of the tournament so far by Richards, not just because it was a heads-up one, but because it's going to have some significance Spartans bats coming up in a very important situation, and the bases now remain empty with 2 outs. Galehouse at the plate again, singled in the 3rd inning, grounded out in the 1st, and after struggles in the circle earlier, hoping to recover right here.
Yeah, she really needs to keep things alive here for the Spartans, because if she's retired all of a sudden, there's only going to be 2 innings left, and there you go, she does exactly that.
So another hit for Galehouse, 2nd of the game. It's another single. It was a good attempt by Clegg, but just past her. And now, a tying run steps up to the plate as Corinne Miner, but it'll be easier said than done to get any of them home. Galehouse at first with 2 outs, and obviously Miner would need to go the distance to get this game tied. So with a little bit of time left, but very, very soon will we have to start counting down until outs. Both teams will not want to have to play in a go-home match at 6 p.m. We'll have to see which one will. Fouled away, strike 1.
There was a situation earlier in this game when I talked about that Corinne Miner knew the pressure that was on her because there was runners in scoring position. And I would say it's the same right now, because with her team down 2 and 2 outs here, and we're already into the top of the 5th, she's got to at least reach base safely to move Mariah Galehouse up and keep this inning alive.
Got to do anything to keep this run going. This could be one of the last chances the Spartans get. There's a fly to deep left. It won't go deep enough as the catch will be made by Averson. The side is retired. Spartans get 2 hits, but no one's able to come home. One is stranded, but the double play taking care of the other runner earlier. Entering the bottom of the 5th, Valdosta State still leads 5-3. We'll be back for more NCAA playoff softball.
I pledged.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
On my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Entering this tournament, Valdosta State and Tampa was set to be arguably one of the more interesting matchups we could get from the bracket, and indeed it's given us a very entertaining game here. Despite the offensive fireworks to start, both teams have started to settle down, including Mary Beth Feldman, who has done a good job of stopping the bleeding from Valdosta State. The game is still 5-3 in the favor of the Blazers. That first pitch, however, taken for ball 1. Macera is going to be able to get a lead in the at-bat. That one's going to go deep, but foul. Fantone, really good job to try to run it down. We actually see a piece of, I believe it's her fielding mask or visor. No, yes, a visor falling off as she tried to make that play. So showing all types of hustle and effort as we've seen from Fantone in left field all season. Truly a future key piece for the Spartans. There are a few Spartan seniors on this side, a couple having stayed for extra seasons as graduates because of COVID redshirt rules. But Fantone, not subject to needing to leave next season, so she'll be a big part of the Spartans for years to come. 2-2 count after that one's taken low for strike 2. Macera so far, one of the only batters for Valdosta State who's 0 for 2 alongside Proctor and Lewis, who's only 0 for 1. Otherwise, Valdosta State's bats haven't really been able to reach base more often than not. That pitch is going to be taken just outside ball 3. Count goes full. Macera actually did reach base on a fielder's choice in the first inning.
And Taylor, in addition to the obvious, let's not overlook the fact that there's pride on the line for the Spartans. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and they've won 11 of their last 12. So for that reason, they certainly want to make sure that they find a way to get a W here against Valdosta State, as you see that out.
And that out will be able to retire the second batter of the inning. The first batter of the inning. But indeed, I mean, good winning streak, playoff atmosphere. What more motivation do you need to try and go win? Lewis walked and struck out looking in her 2 at-bats.
Yeah, the Spartans had won 8 in a row, and then they lost, and then they've won 3 in a row since then. So some anxious moments here as they trail 5-3 in the bottom of the 5th.
So Lewis here swings and misses on strike 1, seeing some of Feldman's stuff. That one's going to be taken low, but in the zone. Strike 2. It's a little bit hard to tell whether if that one's in the zone or the umpire decided, hey, Lewis did go all the way around on that swing. Regardless, the count is now 0-2 with 1 out. A chance for Feldman to rack up a second strikeout and second out of the inning.
Well, I think that was a changeup that fooled Lewis. And that one's way outside.
Yeah, just hard to get to. Chevalier not able to try to frame it like she has been for a few other pitches. Count is now 1-2. Feldman ready to go. The 1-2. That one's in the dirt. Ball 2. The changeup. A good take by Lewis, who looked like she was ready to try to take that yard, but that was a lot slower, and she does hold up in time. Count now back even. Good job to fight back here. 2-2 now to Lewis. Swing and a miss. Strikeout. Second of the game for Feldman. And now there's 2 outs in the inning as Everson comes up. Everson made a good play to end the previous inning and also has had a sacrifice as well as a single so far and has done a pretty good job so far. She wasn't able to score a run off her single, but she has shown some speed on the base path and always is a dangerous at bat. Here's the 0-0. Everson holds up, but had to strike 1 inside the zone. A little bit of cutting action to move inside. Everson has platoon advantage, being a lefty against a righty. And notably as well, Valdosta State has 4 lefty batters in their lineup. Tampa's rotation is nearly entirely right-handed pitchers. In fact, it is entirely right-handed pitchers. DeSimone and Minor, who we haven't seen yet, are also righties alongside Galehouse and Feldman. Here's the 1-1 from Feldman, getting ready from the circle, looking to have another clean inning. That's a flare to left. Fantone, good try to chase it down, but that was pretty much impossible to get. Strike 2 now, after the foul ball.
Everson, with her back to the wall here, would love to keep this inning alive. And interestingly enough, her team is actually being out-hit 8-7, and they've stranded more runners than UT has. But still, at the end of it all, the Blazers are leading 5-3, and there you see the 3rd and final out of this bottom of the 5th.
Russo with a good grab lets the Spartans retire Valdosta State in order. The Blazers still lead as we enter the top of the 6th. Not too long left, and remember, stay tuned afterwards at 3 p.m. The losers bracket gets underway with Rollins and Embry-Riddle. Stay tuned for more NCAA softball on the Sunshine State Conference Network right after this. So we are back in the Mully Family Stadium. Blazers still lead the Spartans 5-3. It's been a good day for Valdosta State. Spartans have also had a good day on offense, but I know they're hoping that it can get a little bit better later. Russo already an RBI single in the first, but was out in the third. And with that first pitch taken low for ball 1, Russo hoping to generate some offense for the Spartans to start the top of the 6th inning. And yes, once again, Spartans the road team. And look at that one, hit on a rope. Russo gets a single to open up the top of the 6th inning. Lexi Chevalier is now ready to go with a runner on.
We've seen unofficially, I think this is at least 3 times, that the Spartans' leadoff hitter has gone on base. And the 5, 6, 7 hitters here for UT, in this case now it's Lexi Chevalier, really need to capitalize on these. And even though that I mentioned that the Spartans have only, quote-unquote, only stranded 4 runners, they really need to convert every chance they get so they can cut into this deficit, as we're going to have a pinch runner here. Devin Hammonds is going to go in for Lexi Chevalier at first base.
So an interesting thing to note about Valdosta State's ace, 183 pitches over these 2 games. You have to wonder, with that level of pitch load, I wonder if that pitch level where she'll start to fatigue has dropped a little bit lower, and if the Spartans might be able to find some more success in the late innings. We'll have to wait and see, because Richards looked absolutely fine, even in the 110 pitches in the 6th and 7th innings to close out game 2 of the winner's bracket.
Let me correct myself. I said that Devin Hammonds is going in to run for Chevalier at first base. I should have said going in to run for Alexa Russo. This is Chevalier that's up to bat.
Chevalier takes ball 2 here, or ball 1. Second pitch of the at-bat, first ball. Count is now 1-1 to Lexi. That's going to be pretty far hit, but also very far to the left. So, as that one is going to roll back into the field, that's foul ball. 1-2 count. Richards hoping to get the first out of the inning. Emily Jansen, Balmer, and Allen up next for the Spartans. And they will be hoping to try to capitalize and cut this deficit down at the very least by 1. Chevalier, hoping to do so right now, already does have an RBI single in this game. Consulting the wrist, Richards ready to go from the circle. That's going to be grounded to third. The throw to second is in time for the force out, but not able to make a throwback at first, so it's a fielder's choice that gets the first out of the inning.
I was surprised to see the hesitation in throwing over to second, because there was a ripe opportunity there for a potential double play, and I think that extra hesitation led to there only being 1 put out, and so the Spartans still have a runner on first, and this time it is Lexi Chevalier, as we now see Emily Jansen at the plate.
I think the main reason was because there wasn't anyone at second. Here's the throw to second, back to first and safe, so we see another fielder's choice play this time. The infielder's quicker to second, so we actually had a chance at a double play, but the throw to first isn't in time, as we see Jansen beat it by a step. But yeah, I think on that earlier play, Clegg was looking to second. No one was there, so she had to wait an extra second and was only able to get the fielder's choice out. We're going to see a pinch hitter come in. This time it's going to be Savannah Miller, who started in Game 1 for the Spartans, ready to hit with a runner on first and 2 outs.
And Savannah Miller, limited action in 2022, just 10 games played, although 7 for 16 at the plate, so a .438 batting average, and obviously Leslie Cantor trying to do something to shake things up here for her Spartans team, trailing by 2.
At this point, you need to shake it up. You need to figure out how to generate a little more offense. Strike 1 taken in the outside corner. Richards still looking as strong as ever, hoping to complete another inning of work. 5 2/3 so far. 9 hits allowed, but still with the lead so far. Also alongside 2 strikeouts. Here's the 0-1 to Miller. That one's outside. 1-1, a good take by Miller. Richards' pitch count now at 75 for the day. And at that, it's going to be getting close by the end of the game to nearly 200 pitches thrown throughout the entire 2-game span. We're about to reach 190, but we imagine later on we could reach 200. We'll have to wait and see. That one is going to be, however, a pitch that lands inside for ball 2.
Now let's keep in mind that pitch count is within less than 24 hours.
It's now 2-1 here to Miller. Richards readies and fires. That's going to be inside again, but called strike 2. We saw Miller actually back away from the plate a little bit. She thought it was relatively close for comfort. The ump says, it's just in the strike zone.
And she looked down at Leslie Cantor as if to say, Coach, come on. And Cantor looked back at her like, look, you can't fight City Hall. You just got to play the hand you're dealt. Get ready for this next pitch.
2-2 to Miller. Going to line it down. Stays barely fair. Yes, it is fair. It almost looked like it was foul. Throw into third in time. That was right on the line, so that was a really tricky call. And Valdosta State is trying to say, hey, we think that's a foul ball.
No,
Tampa
that was
trying to say, hey, I think that's fair.
Yeah, that was fair, and I'm not being a homer. I mean, from where I saw it, that absolutely was fair. And of course, Leslie Cantor is going over to thank Savannah Miller for making her look good, for put her in as the pinch hitter. But that absolutely looked like it was fair from up here. And so UT should have runners on the corners now.
Good news is, for Valdosta State, there are still 2 outs, meaning that if Allen or whoever might be coming in as a pinch hitter, I'm not sure if they will do that again, can't get a hit or get on base here, the inning will come to a close. The umpire is talking it over. I think it would be hard for them to overturn the call of a fair ball, because it did look fair, but it is also close enough where you do need to just have that extra conversation. Valdosta State, I think, was feeling that it was completely foul, showing a little bit of lack of effort at first from the infield. But it looks like that it's going to be called a fair ball. Runners now at the corners, 2 outs. The excitement continues. It's now a go-ahead run. If it was able to come home, is at the plate and a tying run, which what could be extremely useful.
Yeah, and I can understand Thomas Massera wanting to talk about that, but I think when he looks at the video after the game, he's going to see that it was a fair ball. And so now plot thickens here for UT, trailing by 2, and the tying run over at first base. Of course, the first priority is trying to get Emily Jansen home from third, as we're going to see Mackenzie Allen, who's 0 for 2 in this game, batting here in the top of the 6th.
Mackenzie Allen now, a lot of pressure on her shoulders, arguably one of the most important at-bats for Tampa's season, to try to change the game, and we are going to see them meet at the circle, and wonder what they're going to do. Just talking about it, trying to settle them down, or just maybe eat a little more time and try to build up Allen's nerves, because again, you're looking at Mackenzie Allen, she is obviously going to be nervous in this situation as well.
And or he's trying to stall and create a little extra time, not only for that, but also to settle his girls down and say, we got this, we're in the driver's seat, let's not let these 2 runners on base get to our heads. There are 2 outs, Taylor, as you pointed out, so he's reminding them, we get 1 out, inning's over with.
We've seen Allen put the ball in play, but not able to get to base safely after a ground out and line out. Allen's hoping that the ball in play luck will tilt in her scales this time. We see on average of the balls in play maybe about 300, so if those odds are correct, you could argue that Allen might be due if Allen can get it in play. First pitch taken, ball 1. Richards, 79 pitches. Here will be pitch number 80. Allen at the plate ready to go. Richards from the circle ready to go. That pitch is going to be taken strike 1 on the high, but inside.
Mackenzie Allen from right here in Tampa. Played her high school ball at Wharton.
Allen would love to be a hero here for the Spartans. And has a great chance to do so right here. Even though hitting 9 has had some pretty big at-bats for the Spartans and some big moments. That one's going to be taken in the outside corner. But on that RNG coin flip in the corner, it goes the Spartans' way. 2-1 now. The Spartans have it. A nice hitter's count for Allen. And even though walking the batter could be a good option, Fantone is one of the best hitters for the Spartans, and you don't necessarily want to have to worry about that if you're Richards. Allen fouls that away. Count will go to 2-2.
Yeah, excellent point, Taylor, because Lauren Fantone 2 for 3 in this game, and so you don't want that hot bat coming to the plate with the bases loaded, for sure.
Even though Fantone isn't someone you'd expect to take at yard, any ball into the gap or outfield would probably bring home a game tying, or could even bring home the 1 run if it's instead of walk instead of a hit, because obviously a hit would most likely bring Jansen home, who's probably running as soon as the ball gets into play. 2-2 now to Mackenzie Allen. Count fouls that off, stays alive.
Yeah, I think the script is written that in these situations you got to foul off a good 2, 3, 4 pitches just to keep everyone on the edge of their seats.
I know for Richards won't mind as long as it's not as last as the Tyler Joe Colby at bat we saw yesterday that lasted 13 pitches and ended in a walk. Arguably the at bat of the tournament for being that long and resulting in a good outcome. checks the wrist one more time. Richards looking to deal from the circle to Allen. Allen fouls it away again, keeping it alive. And I wonder, maybe the Spartans are saying, hey, we'll just keep that pitch count up. Maybe the arm will just fall off at some point.
And maybe get into her head just a little bit. It's just if it's enough to make the difference that it allows either the walk or just the right pitch for a base hit from Mackenzie Allen, UT will take it any way they can get it.
And Allen, still technically defined in the count, would definitely like to find a pitch to hit. That one's going to be fouled away one more time. And again, you get in the pitcher's head, you think, what am I going to need to do to retire this batter? That's where you can throw a very bad pitch. Allen takes, gets the count full, or you throw a pitch that Allen likes, and she can take to the outfield and cut this deficit down. Or if Allen has a lot of power, who knows? Here's the 2-2 with 2 outs. Again, the payoff pitch, one of the most important of the game. Allen takes, but it's called strike 3 high, and that is a very close pitch. I think it was a ball, not trying to be a homer. I think consistent with the earlier calls, you could call that a ball, but just touching the corner, that is enough. The Spartans strand 2 one more time. Entering the bottom of the 6th. Last chance saloon will be open soon, but the Blazers have a chance to try to set the goalposts a little bit farther. We'll be back right after this for more NCAA tournament softball.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela burns it. Incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
Spartans straining 2 runners in the top half of the 6th inning. They have a chance to try to keep it clean, to try to get back going for the bottom half of the 6th, to try to get one more shot at the top half of the 7th with this deficit the same. Quick just conversation between Cantor and the umpire, making sure the roster's all set and everything's all good.
Yeah, we saw one of these conversations before where Valdosta State head coach Thomas Macera was talking with Don Maddox, the home plate umpire, and this time it's Leslie Cantor's turn. And so Hunter Meadows, the number 9 hitter, here starting off the bottom of the 6th. And one more time, if you joined us late, Valdosta State is the quote-unquote home team by virtue of a coin toss. And that's why even though the game is being played on Tampa's field, they are the visitor.
So that's a hit up the middle. It evades Ballmer's glove, and it's a single for the second hit of the game for Meadows. Hill also has 2 hits, 2 for 3 so far, with 2 singles and an RBI. And with a runner on first, we have to see what Valdosta State does. Do they take one out of the Tampa playbook and try a sac bunt, or do they want Hill to try to put it in play? She's already had some success with that before. Feldman ready to go, 59 pitches. Here's number 60. Here's the sacrifice bunt. Feldman picks it up, and a clean play to first. Sacrifice bunt does the job. Runner on second with 1 out.
Amazing. This has turned into a real hit parade. 18 hits between the 2 teams combined. 10 for the Spartans and 8 for Valdosta State. And the Blazers to the tune of 5-3. You could argue in the driver's seat? Question mark?
They have been in control since that first inning. But still, a little bit of time for something to happen. Tampa's defense has definitely gotten better as the game has gone on. The question is, will the bats light up again in the 7th, or will they stay cold and might have to try to light up again at 6 p.m. tonight? We'll have to wait and see. That first pitch taken by Pennington for ball 1. A double and a sac fly for Pennington, as well as a strikeout. That won't be a sacrifice fly, but it's a deep fly that can advance a runner. However, Meadows thinks better of it, stays at second, 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, Fantone got that one in quickly enough that she was able to hold Meadows at second base for the Blazers. And so now 2 outs as Ellie Clegg, the third base player, comes up to bat. She's 1 for 2 and also had a walk in this game.
Clegg takes it outside, ball 1. Clegg has a walk, a double, and a ground out. Clegg has been a big part for Valdosta State's success, that RBI being one of the runs That helps Valdosta State lead by. Another RBI here could try to seal the deal and make it so Valdosta State doesn't have to worry about a second game tonight. 2 outs, though. It's a dangerous at-bat, and that would end the inning and strand a runner. Meadows has the pace to try to get home off the ball and play, though, so we'll have to see what happens. 2-0 count now to Clegg. That one lands also low, so Clegg could be drawing a second walk here. Feldman just being cautious to the best hitter for the Blazers. Clegg with 14 home runs, 45 RBIs. Well, 46 if you count the one today.
UT jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the top of the first, and then a run by Valdosta State in the bottom of the first. Blazers scored 3 in the bottom of the second, 1 more in the bottom of the third, and that's where we sit right now.
So 5-3, that one outside taken, strike 1. Here's the 3-1 now to Clegg. Swing and a miss. That one likely would have been ball 4. That swing and a miss was very clear. Strike 2. Full count for Clegg. Can Feldman get out of the jam right here? Even though it's not the worst jam possible, it still can turn into a run should Clegg get some good contact. 3-2 with 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Feldman gets strikeout number 3 and retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, no error in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And we will see you for the top half of the 7th right after this. More NCAA playoff softball up next.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Academic opportunities are extensive and rigorous, but this mid-sized residential campus retains a welcoming feel. With a student-faculty ratio of 16-1, students benefit from direct interaction with expert faculty, a faculty that is passionate about teaching and mentoring. Outside the classroom, UT enjoys a unique environment. Plant Hall, a National Historic Landmark, is surrounded by modern and historic buildings on 105 acres.
We are back in the Moley Family Stadium, top of the 7th. Last Chance Saloon is open for business. Top half of the order, Lauren Fantone leading off 2 for 3 with 2 singles, facing off against Samantha Richards. Richards so far in the tournament, 13 innings pitched and 201 pitches in under 24 hours. Make that 202 now. Has done a lot of work so far. 3 runs conceded, all in the first inning of this game, but apart from that, has been nearly perfect against the Spartans. We saw them get in a little bit of a jam last time out, but a good strikeout retired the side. Valdosta State now can rest a little bit easier. Maybe not so easy, as now the tying run will be at the plate. After a single by Fantone, a great game for Lauren. 3 for 4 at the plate.
And just to reset what's at stake here, the winner of this game will be done for the day. They will play again tomorrow. After this game, we've got at 3 o'clock Embry-Riddle against Rollins, and the loser of this game will play the winner of that game today at 6 p.m. So do stay tuned. We've got a lot more softball on the way here. First, the Spartans are going to try to get back into this one, down by 2.
It's that one low and away for Keister. But now the question is, will Tampa change up the strategy? They are down by 2 runs, so generating an out to try to move runner to scoring position could probably do them more harm than good at this stage. Rather, they'd want to take their chances and try to get the tying run aboard, too. Keister fouls that one off, as we do see her going for swings rather than bunts. Count is now 1-1. Richards now at 90 pitches for the day.
Keister 1 for 3 on the day. She did single back in the first inning, so again, as a batter, you say, I can hit this pitcher, and that's where you start to wonder, is Samantha Richards tiring at all now that her pitch count is over 90?
And that is going to be the question right here. Still some great command, gets that one in the zone, strike 2. Keister 1 strikeout earlier in the 2nd inning, certainly hoping to avoid that, but also hoping to avoid a double play which he had in the 5th inning. Richards checks the wrist, here's the 1-2. Keister fouls that one off and stays alive.
Let's not overlook the fact that the Spartans have been able to hit Richards 11 times today. Just haven't been able to translate the right formula to get more than 3 runs, which all came back in the first inning.
Interestingly enough, though, Tampa has stranded less runners than Valdosta State, 7-6 in that category. But those 6 runs could have made a huge difference. We'll see if the Spartans can avoid stranding a runner here. Grounded away and foul. Keister staying alive. Richards still looking as good as ever, though, and it'll be tricky. Good news for the Spartans, though. Gilhouse, Miner, and Russo on deck. That, of course, is assuming they might all get a chance to bat if they can get someone on base and there are no double plays like we saw earlier. The last time out, Keister did get a double play, which was really disappointing for the Spartans, and soured a good chance. The 1-2 now to Keister. Keister lines it into the gap. 2 runners on. And this has been a huge start right here. And Maria Galehouse, who since stepping off of the circle and getting into the field, has been perfect in hitting. 2 for 3, and both of those came in her most recent at-bats, and now has a chance to give her teammate the run support she needs and also prevent her from getting a loss if she's able to try to get these runners in action. We saw her take a runner from first to home on a winning sacrifice bunt in Game 1. It wouldn't be a win here because it's the top half of the inning, but a play that brings home a run or two could be huge in the context of the game.
Well, and the Spartans have had some success today with runners on base. They're now hitting .375, 6 for 16, with runners in scoring position, 4 for 10. So things looking up here for UT. No outs in the top of the 7th.
Richards drops the sacrifice. The throw to first is not in time. Well, the runner's not in time. The throw is, but Galehouse decides to sacrifice, putting both runners in scoring position. Miner has a chance to be the game-leading run, tying run on second. 2 outs to go for the Spartans, but their best sluggers in Miner and Russo are ready to go. A truly interesting at-bat right here. Miner so far 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. Miner can get a first hit. It would be huge for the Spartans. That one taken inside, strike 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could argue that she's due. I mean, she is the Spartans' cleanup hitter. Yesterday we saw her walked an awful lot. And as you mentioned, looking for her first hit of this game, and no better time than the present.
Richards ready, checks the dugout, checks her wrists. The 0-1. There's a liner up the middle. It's going to get down. 1 run for the Spartans. Keister turning home, throw in time. So it's the second out of the inning, but the gap is now 1. Miner now at second. Miner does the job to bring 1 run home. An aggressive base running call. The throw in time from center field. What a play by Meadows. So 2 outs, tying run in second. What would be the go-ahead run is now at the plate in Alexa Russo.
And they do stick with the call of the runner being out at home. As you see, first assistant coach Denise Rubio arguing, and now Leslie Cantor coming over to express her concerns to home plate umpire Don Maddox, which again, as we've said, he's not going to overturn his call, but I think Cantor wants her voice to be heard. Although let's not overlook the fact that the Spartans did score a run, Taylor, as you mentioned, and now trail by just 1, and they do have a runner in scoring position in the person of Corinne Miner on second base. And sets it up for Alexa Russo. And Alexa Russo 2 for 3 in this game. So Alexa Russo is kind of another one of those players that you say, this is someone that we would like to have up in this position. There's 2 outs, but 2 outs is one thing, but the tying run at second base, that's encouraging for your UT because you have had such limited success with Samantha Richards from innings 2 through 6.
Certainly a hot bat, and at the play, I think that throw is in time. No catcher interference. First pitch taken, strike 1 in the outside corner. Russo is going to be tasked with trying to get Miner home, or at the very least, just keeping the inning alive. Chevalier and Jansen have had some solid at-bats too. And the question will be, can Russo keep the Spartans alive? Can Richards close it out? It comes down to this. 0-1 now to Alexa Russo. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Russo down 0-2. We see Lewis excited about that. And down to the last strike. Can Russo stay alive here? Can Richards finish it off? Wonder when Miner's going to get moving. No strikeouts so far for Russo. Would hate to get a first here. The 0-2 with 2 away. Richards ready to go. That's going to be fouled away and over the dugout. And the at-bat and games stay alive. And you have to wonder if being aggressive in the base path was the right thing to do in that situation. Because runners at second and third with 1 out is a lot nicer than that with 2 outs. But you could have also had a tied game if she was a couple steps earlier. The 0-2 now to Alexa Russo. Richards looking to finish it off. Taken inside, ball 1. And Richards just jumping up and down saying, just a little inside. I would have had it. Richards now over 100 pitches in the game. So again, 2 100-pitch starts in a row. And I know she'd hate to have to try to go again if they're playing at 6. But she might be able to help them get a little rest for tomorrow. 1-2 for Russo. Richards ready and fires. That one's going to bobble off. Minor. Actually, it hits Russo. Russo's going to get on base. And now, a new count to work with. Lexi Chevalier. The pressure at bat here. Chevalier has an RBI and 2 singles. That is the go-ahead run on first. The tying run is Minor on second. With 2 outs, Chevalier is all that separates the Blazers from a bye for the rest of the day.
You know, you remember at the beginning of our broadcast, I talked about remember when you were young, whenever it was all just about having fun. And these are the situations that you dream of if you're Lexi Chevalier.
Chevalier pops that one up. I think it's off the netting. It is. The at-bat stays alive, obviously. 0-1 count now after that. But indeed, I mean, I imagine Chevalier playing when she's younger, thinking, all right, base is loaded, 2 outs, team down by a run, we need to get the win. And apart from 1 runner not on third, this is pretty much that situation. And I wonder if we could get the old full count tale of old. Here's the 0-1 now to Chevalier. Richards ready and fires. Swing and a miss, down 0-2 in the count now. We've seen some good stuff from Richards later on. Only 3 strikeouts so far, but still good stuff all day. Even though the Spartans have hit 13 times on her, it might not be enough. Richards ready. Chevalier ready. Checks the dugout. Checks her wrist. The 0-2 now to Chevalier. Holds up. Ball 1. And wow, that was close. Oh, that was close, but it's a ball. The game continues. Here we see a couple oohs and ahs from the press box up here and from the crowd. This at-bat stays alive. This game stays alive. I don't think anyone is, well, there are a few fans in their seats, but they are metaphorically and physically on the edge. 1-2 getting ready after checking the wrist. Here's Richards to Chevalier. Chevalier fouls that away. The at-bat stays alive. The game stays alive. This is not for the end of any season. They'll still have a chance to fight whoever loses at 6 p.m., but I know both teams, after this long game, might not want to have to play 7 more innings at minimum.
Let's not lose sight of the fact that the Spartans are the visitors here, so even if they do tie it, Valdosta State still gets to bat in the bottom of the 7th. This is not to decide the game right here.
They do.
In terms of scoring a run.
It's generally the Spartans at home, but they are the visiting team, so they won't have the chance to win it here. That one's just outside. Ball 2. Another very close pitch. We see some great command, but just a little outside. And indeed, if the Spartans are able to tie it up, it's going to be Feldman back in the circle. Well, actually, even if the Spartans take the lead, Feldman will be back in the circle to try to close out the game. And we could see Valdosta State even come back and walk it off. This is truly a playoff game for the ages. 2-2 now. Chevalier pops it up. Clegg looking to field it. Gets it. Valdosta State will be playing tomorrow at 1 p.m. The question is, will Tampa? That question will be answered at 6 p.m. But firstly, we're going to need to see who Tampa is going to face in the win-or-go-home game. The Blazers take a 5-4 win. Valdosta State has moved on to the regional final. Tampa losing on their winning streak, and now will have to play in a win-or-go-home later tonight. The winning pitcher, of course, going the distance, Samantha Richards, 108 pitches on 7 innings. 3 strikeouts, 4 earned, but that 4 was more than enough to win the game for Valdosta State. The losing pitcher will be Mariah Galehouse, who only went the first 1 2/3 innings before being defensively replaced by Feldman, who surrendered a singular run in a relief stint.
And the final line score, the Spartans get 4 runs on 13 hits and 1 error, and the Blazers get 5 runs on 8 hits and no errors. And so, as Taylor mentioned, the Valdosta State Blazers get the rest of the day off and will play tomorrow, and UT is going to have to regroup and play another game tonight at 6 o'clock.
Yep. The question is, who will they play, Rollins or Embry-Riddle? That question will be answered at 3 p.m. So tune in for that game, again, on the Sunshine State Conference Network. This game was arguably one of the most exciting of the season, not just this tournament, and we've got another one coming up next. Thank you for tuning in to NCAA Softball. If you're a Tampa fan, I assume we'll be seeing you later tonight. If you're a Valdosta State fan, we'll likely be seeing you tomorrow at 1 p.m. when you face the winner of the final match at 6 p.m. Losers bracket action up next for the NCAA tournament. We'll be right back.